I'm not going to start talking yet because nobody's there. So maybe I'll wait a minute. Fix this string. Maybe you guys all got up early, saw that I wasn't doing YouTube live through noon, went back to sleep, and now you're all napping. Some people are here. Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Wow. A whole bunch of you guys are showing up all of a sudden. Yeah, I see you're on time. First time for everything. I guess if you don't have to leave your house, it's easy to be on time. It's hard to get a laugh when it's just me and my, limited audience that I have here. No. Diana, you got to go. Hey, that's funny. I was gonna say the first thing I was gonna say today is, hey, all you cats and kittens out there, but I forgot to do that, which would be funny if you've been watching that TV show that is crazy. Have you been watching Tiger King? I moved to the other side of my house, the other side of my room today. I didn't want to sit at the table today. No. No. Hey, hi. This is kind of fun. It's weird though. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to get sponsors, and then maybe I'll go back next year. Anyway, Tiger King is super popular. Everybody's watching it. It's really weird. It's a bunch of bizarre people, and every person is almost more bizarre than the next. So you're not missing anything, except for culturally, everybody in the world is paying attention to it right now. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing okay. I know you're probably tired of being at your house. Who would have thought that you'd be tired of going to staying home? And I bet most of you are probably would like to go back to school at this point in time. So maybe it makes you appreciate some of the things that you have when you don't have them. Anyway, I know that I do miss going to school. It's somewhat boring around my house. Both my sons are here now, my wife, and we're getting on each other's nerves. But we stay away from each other. We hang out a little bit, then we go our separate ways. If you're watching another show while you're watching this show, you probably shouldn't be doing that there, Nikki. All right. What should I talk about? I'm going to talk about what it is that we're that's coming up. It's hard. Is like I'm reading your comments, which I'm sure they're hilarious, but it's also distracting me from doing what I want to do. So I'm going to not read those for a few minutes. All right. So first of all, I sent out a message again this morning. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the poem. Thank you. I sent some messages out this morning to you. I'll show you the rest of this room in a minute. Okay. But you got to bear with me. First of all, if you haven't checked in, and I guess if you got this message, you saw that, and you will check in. I need to hear from you. I need to be able to know that I'm going to be able to send you correspondence messages and stuff next week, and let you know what it is we're going to be doing for school. There will be assignments coming. I'm closing the books. I think maybe there'll be one or two more assignments that I'll give you. I'm waiting to hear from the rest of the English teachers and find out exactly, and the head of the English department, to find out exactly what it is that we're supposed to be doing for the remainder of the quarter and for your grades. But as far as I'm concerned, your grades are pretty much done. If you have an A, a B, a C, your grade is pretty much done. You're going to probably earn pretty close to whatever it is in the grade book right now. So if you checked your grades today and you saw what your grade is, you can probably assume that's going to be your grade. It might get changed a little bit, but whatever assignments are going to come along in the next week are not going to be huge. So there's that. If you have a D or an E, and lots of you do, first of all, I'm going to round you up. I'm going to round everybody up if it's close, obviously. But I'm going to. I just got distracted by a question. I'm going to give the people who have D's or E's a chance to pass. I think that's a priority. Maybe you would have, turned it on in the last week or two, and then in the next couple of weeks and gotten it together. I'm going to go on the assumption that you would have, and I'm going to give you a chance to pass. So you need to look at that message that I sent you today, and we need to communicate about the work that you've missed or what it is that you can still turn in. Basically, you should figure it's the assignments. It's a writing assignment. So if you never did an argument paragraph, you need to do that. If you didn't do your poem analysis, you're going to have to do that. If you have E right now with a 14%, you don't have the opportunity, in the next 2 weeks to get an A. All right, sorry, you messed that up. You're going to have the opportunity to get an A next quarter, but for right now, what I want you to do is salvage a passing grade or a grade that's maybe a little better. So there's that. So that will get us through the rest of this quarter. And then I think after spring break, I haven't really, paid that much attention to the schedule because it's still really loosey-goosey, and I am still waiting to hear exactly what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to do it. So I'll get you that information as soon as I have it. But that I think you need to know is that, in a couple of weeks, we're going to, maybe 2 weeks, we're going to wrap up this quarter, whatever is still, to be turned in, we'll get that turned in, your grades will be done, and we'll move on to the fourth quarter. I don't know exactly what the fourth quarter is going to look like. We did have a Zoom meeting with all the 12th grade teachers, English teachers the other day, and we basically said we're going to focus on the zine. The zine is going to be the primary grade for the fourth quarter. So it'll be broken down into pieces. It'll be organized kind of the way it would have been anyway. It'll be categories. You'll have to create something from each category, but it'll probably change around a little bit. You're not going to have to go buy a binder or a folder or whatever. We're probably going to end up doing them electronically somehow. Maybe you'll like that better. Maybe you won't. I don't know. I like the hard copy idea, but right now, it doesn't really seem to be a feasible thing. You can't go to the stores. You can't get all the materials that you need, and I don't want you to go out there. Anyway, so there is that. What else do I need to tell you about? I don't know anything about makeup days. I don't know anything about the schedule for the rest of the year. I don't know when we'll go back or if we'll go back at all. Third quarter, I believe, ends 2 weeks. So I think if everything works out the way they want it to work, then we are going to then probably about 2 weeks till the quarter ends, and then we'll start a new one. No, April 17th. Okay, thank you. That's when the quarter officially ends, I guess now. And I don't know about the rest. So you guys know all the answers. Look at you. All right. Is there anything I'm forgetting to talk about? I don't know if you have any questions. Nobody's really, as much as time as you guys have, nobody's really reached out to me. Nobody's, one person is, texting me a question. But again, if you have questions, this is a hard way to do it. There is probably another way. Prom? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answers to those things. But what do you think? So really, there is no. So anyway, let me answer one question and the other. There's no word on prom. I don't know what the deal with prom is. I can't imagine there'll be prom. I can't imagine that the school system will let schools have a prom. I mean, who's going to put 400 people, 500 people in a room in, a month and a half. It doesn't sound smart. Yeah, and it does suck for you guys, and I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you other than, this whole thing is complicated and huge. Really is likely a huge problem for anybody. But compared to all the options, or be very repetitive there. When do you think we're coming back to school? Well, what does it say on what the superintendent sent out? It said that we're going back to school on the 24th of April. I don't have any of the answers to that. Nobody tells me. I just do what everybody tells me too. But yeah, April 24th is the day we're supposed to go back to school. I'd be really glad to go back to school on April 24th. That would get us back to regular. But I don't think we'll be back on April 24th. But that's just me. And I don't know anything. I'm not speaking for anybody except for, what I think. Anyway, let's go on. There was something else I was going to talk about. What was it? You guys distracted me. I think we should be paid for missing out on this stuff. You want to be paid for the things that you missed out on doing? Like you want to get paid for prom? Yeah, you want to talk about the poem? Did you read the poem? Let's talk about the poem. This is going to be hard for me because I don't have a hard copy and I've got to switch back and forth. Yeah. Okay. So Zoom. We should pay for missing out. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys about buying stuff for prom. Outfits and making reservations and all those things. I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't probably. But I've asked, school a couple times and, gotten no real clear answer. So as soon as I know something, I would tell you. Anyway, but I wouldn't buy it. Oh, Zoom. Do you guys want to Zoom? That's my question. I would say Zoom could be fun. It could be interesting, but we're not going to start that yet. If we do it, maybe we'll start next week. I have 5 classes, and I don't know if I would be able to do everybody or do like one period at a time, which is probably, what I would do. It would be complicated. Zoom is a computer program that lets you interact with each other on the screen, and everybody will be there. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of torn here between like talking about school and answering the questions that you guys have. Look, ultimately, I wouldn't return your dress yet. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can wear, dress. You could have a virtual prom. Yeah, you could have a virtual prom. You could dress up on Zoom. I could be the DJ, and you guys could all dance like at your own houses or something. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right. Again, so today I'm not going to do. All right. Well, you'll hear my wife yelling at me in the back too, so it's all good. If you turned in for Hamlet, we're not doing Hamlet today. I did want to talk about this poem that all right, you guys are all talking about prom and prom dresses. I'm going to go on. I don't have a prom dress, and exactly. So I'm gonna all kinds of electronic stuff is going on. This is way outside. All right, you guys, can I mute your comments? They're so distracting. I don't know what to do here. All right, let's see if I can make this a better thing for me here. So the poem that we're going to talk about is called "The Writer," and hopefully you read it. I'm going to switch on my screen over to the poem, and yeah, you could. I don't know. I'm not going to look at your comments right there. Anyway, so I'm going to switch over to this poem, "The Writer." I gave you a link to look at it, or I told you to go look it up, I think. And so I'm going to switch away from that screen, and now I'm not even looking at you. I'm looking at my poem on this page. So I guess I'll do what I would do anyway, and that is to read the poem to you first, and then we'll just talk about it very quickly, and it's weird having conversation. It's one-sided, and certainly not my thing. I'm sure like most of you are probably texting right now as we talk anyway, or eating, or doing all kinds of watching TV, doing all those things probably. All right, the poem's called "The Writer" by Richard Wilbur. In her room at the prow of the house, where light breaks and the windows are tossed with linden, my daughter is writing a story. I pause in the stairwell, hearing from her shut door a commotion of typewriter keys like a chain hauled over a gunwale. Young as she is, the stuff of her life is a great cargo, some of it heavy. I wish her a lucky passage. But now it is she who pauses, as if to reject my thought and its easy figure. A stillness greatens, in which the whole house seems to be thinking. And then she is at it again with a bunched clamor of strokes, and again is silent. I remember the dazed starling which was trapped in that very room 2 years ago, how we stole in, lifted a sash, and retreated, not to affright it, and how for a helpless hour, through the crack of the door, we watched the sleek, wild, dark, and iridescent creature batter against the brilliance, drop like a glove to the hard floor or the desktop, and wait then, humped and bloody, for the wits to try it again, and how our spirits rose suddenly sure, it lifted off from a chair back, beating a smooth course for the right window, and clearing the sill of the world. It is always a matter, my darling, of life or death, as I had forgotten. I wish what I wished you before, but harder. I like that poem. That poem scared you? I don't know what that means. Anyway, how do we talk about a poem without you guys being there to talk about it? Well, we could look at the first stanza. I don't know if you're looking at the first stanza, and the poet uses words like prow, gunwale, chain hauled, cargo, heavy passage. So those words right there, if you were to pay attention to them, they are words that kind of refer to what? I'm gonna wait. Maybe somebody will say cargo, passage, gunwale, chain, prow. Glasses are crooked. Is anybody there? What are those words? That diction, the word choice. What do they all have to do with? Yeah, exactly. A ship. Good answer. Thank you. All right. So those words have to do with a ship. And so really, it's almost like this person is on a boat, right? The imagery that they use is at the prow. The prow is going to be the front, right? The prow of the house, the prow of a boat. All right. You've got a chain hauled over a gunwale. A gunwale is like that hole in the side of a ship up top where the chain would hang out over, and when you pull it in, I know you've seen movies where they drop the anchor, they pull the anchor in, it goes clickety, 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 right? And the oil goes down, right? So, and it goes down really fast. So the image there of the ship, if you're on a ship or a boat or something, you're on a journey, right? You're going somewhere. And B, the girl that he's talking about, his daughter, she's a writer, much like he's a writer. So he's saying he hears the typewriter keys that are almost the sound of like going on a ship. So if you're on a ship and you're trying to get somewhere, you're on a voyage. Also the imagery, the sound of the typing, the sound of the commotion of the change. They are maybe similar. The clickety clickety. This is an old school typewriter, right? It's not a computer. It's real quiet. And then he says, "I wish her a lucky passage." So if you're going on a ship on a journey, you're going on a journey. Right, your passage is. So he says, "I wish her a lucky passage." He hopes that she gets where she wants to go at some point in time. So if you're on a ship and you're going somewhere, you have a destination. If you're a writer, what's the destination? What lucky passage does he want her to have? Anybody? Where's she going? This poem's about a poet who's a writer, and his daughter is a writer, and he's watching her struggle. So ship analogy. The ship is going off somewhere. It's got a destination. The writer, she's typing away. She's got a destination. What's her destination? Where's she trying to go? Anybody? I bet if I asked a question about prom, you're going to have a bunch of answers. Okay, she wants to be a well-known writer. Okay. Or she just wants to finish writing. Yeah, maybe finish writing her story. Exactly. Finish a book, finish her story. I don't know. Any of those are answers. I'll take any of them. All right. But yeah, so she wants to finish her story. She's writing a story. She's writing a poem. Whatever she's writing, he knows that it's hard to do, right? It's hard to write a story. He knows that it's difficult. She's full of a lot of stuff. Her life is great cargo. The stuff of her life is great cargo, some of it heavy. And he wishes her a lucky passage through life, through the journey to write this story. It's that. So let's go on. I'm not looking at the YouTube page right now, so I don't know exactly, if you're asking me more questions or not. In fact, anyway, next stanza. But now it is she who pauses, as if to reject my thought and its easy figure. A stillness greatens, in which the whole house seems to be thinking. And then she is at it again with a bunched clamor of strokes, and again is silent. So what's going on there? What is the difficulty that she's having there? She's doing what? She's stopping and she's starting. It's she who pauses, right? And then there's stillness, there's pause, and then she, types again with a bunch clamor. So a lot of noise. Clickety, 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 clack. All right, she types something, and then it's quiet. So, kind of what this father knows is that writing is a struggle, and he kind of appreciates the challenges that she's facing and the difficulties, and he's listening to her do what he probably has done, hundreds and thousands or thousands of times on his own. So he can relate to this. So he feels her pain, right? It's hard being a writer, is what he's saying. There's a lot of things that you carry around, and getting what you have to say out onto your paper or through your typewriter or on your computer, whatever, is a challenge. And then he changes here, and he goes to something almost completely different, which this is really, I think, pretty. The whole house seems to be I'm sorry, not that part. Then he flashes back. So there's like a flashback here to something when she was maybe younger or maybe a child even. He says, I remember the day's starling, which was trapped in that very room 2 years ago. Do you know what a starling is? Anybody? Anybody? A starling. It's not a small star. What's a starling? Nobody knows? Is that a no, like nobody knows? I bet somebody knows what a starling is. Nope. It's a bird. Yeah, it is. Good. Thank you. Yeah, so a starling is a bird. So he says, remember when you were younger, in that very room, there was a bird that got trapped in there 2 years ago. How we stole in, lifted a sash, and retreated, not to affright it. And how for a helpless hour, through the crack of the door, we watched that sleek, wild, dark, and iridescent creature batter against the brilliance, drop like a glove to the hard floor or the desktop, and wait, then, humped and bloody, for the witch to try it again, and how our spirits rose when, suddenly sure, it lifted off from a chair back, beating a smooth course for the right window and clearing the sill of the world. So what happened is 2 years ago, he tells, it's all right, we're moving on. All right. 2 years ago, they saw this bird that flew in a window. I don't know if a bird's ever flown into your house, but just say, it's like a fly or a bee or whatever it is, right? Yes, thank you for using Google. Yes, it's a bird, it's a bird, it's a bird. So this bird flew into the house and did what? Right? It can't get out. It doesn't know necessarily to find the open part of the window. So it does what? It bashes against the glass. It flies up, it hits the glass, it falls down. Flies up, it hits the glass, it falls down. It's getting bloodied, it's getting beat up, it falls down, it rests a little bit, then it tries again. Why? Why that analogy? What's that a metaphor for? Because it's a metaphor, right? There's a ship metaphor, right? And now there's a bird metaphor. And what is it? Why? Why throw that bird story about the bird in there? I think my glasses look crooked. Yeah, don't give up. Keep on fighting, right? Who's the bird? I mean, the bird is the bird, but who else is the bird? Yeah. Okay. Good. Yep. You guys, the girl, the daughter, the struggle of the writer, all those things are right. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So the girl is the bird. He remembers, right, how difficult the challenge is. So his daughter, you guys are going crazy right now. Look at you. All right. Anyway, anyway, right? Tried again. The spirits rose when suddenly sure it lifted off from a chair back, beating a smooth course for that window and clearing the soul of the world. So yeah, so the bird had the same difficulty that the daughter has, and that he had, and that everybody has on, regardless of what it is that they what challenges they face. Just happens to be that this father and his daughter face similar challenges, right? Being writers, and it's difficult. It's most like, everybody's got some challenges and some difficulties, and we face them all the time. And he says, remember how good we felt and how beautiful it was when it found the right window and it cleared the soul of the world and it got out to where it was trying to go, where it belonged. And then he finishes up, it is always a matter, my darling, of life or death, as I had forgotten. So first of all, he calls her his darling, right? So this is, a poem full of love and empathy and compassion, and understanding. So it's really nice about that. And then he says, it's always a matter, my darling, of life or death, as I had forgotten. So, one of the things that maybe this old writer, Richard Wilbur, is thinking about when he sees his daughter is that, he laughs and says, oh, it's a struggle. It's hard. Writing is difficult. There's lots of challenges. Sometimes you start, sometimes you stop, and eventually you'll get there. But he also then at the end, all this whole poem is showing him is that, he kind of had forgotten what it was like to be in her shoes, that he didn't remember, how important it was that, she reach her goal, or that when he was younger, that he, achieved what he wanted to achieve. So he says, it's always a matter, my darling, of life or death, as I had forgotten. So he puts himself in her shoes for a minute and says, oh, yeah, that's what it was like for me. That's what it's like for everybody. And then he says, I wish what I wished you before, but harder. And then you go back to the top of the poem, and he says, I wish her a lucky passage. So that's what he's referring to when he says, I wish what I wished her before, but harder. Now I really wish her a lucky passage. I know how difficult everything is, that life is complicated and challenging and frustrating, but, even more than I did before, I wish her, success where she's going. So I'm not a writer. I don't, my kids aren't, writers, and so I don't know that I relate to this poem in terms of that, but I think this is a beautiful poem. No, I think he did reach his goal, and he wants his daughter to reach hers, and he realizes that it's hard, right? Or being a writer is hard. You guys know that. Sometimes you tell me the same thing. You've got writer's block or whatever. But he's saying, yeah, it's hard. Challenges are real. You got to keep going, hitting your head against that glass, keep trying to get to where you want to go. And he's just also legitimizing how difficult that is. Anyway, so that's what happens in that poem. So I like it. I think it's a really empathetic, compassionate poem. The dad is really concerned about his daughter. I really like that image, the ship image, and then to switch completely to the bird metaphor. I think is really nice. That poem always sticks out to me, and I think it's got a great message, and it's just a really gentle poem. Like in terms of the takeaway is you really feel that this father really cares about his daughter and how difficult what she's going through really is. So there you go. You can look at that poem, and you can go in there. You can look at the diction, and you can look at there are some similes in there, and the metaphors of the ship and the bird. You can take it apart like that, and if we were in class, maybe we would do that. But I just wanted to talk about the poem. So there we go. That's all I have to talk about today. I'm not going to give you a house tour, right? But I'll show you what we have in my house that I don't know if you have in your house. So come with me. Do you guys have one of these stations right there? The antiseptic, disinfectant, spray, wash, decontaminate section in your house? Here we go. All right, that's my kitchen. There's like some other parts of the room. There's There's a deer head up on the wall. There's a roof way up there. All right. Does that count as a house tour? So it's all you're getting. What was I just saying? You got your dad toilet paper for his birthday? Awesome. Awesome. That is a thoughtful present. Anyway, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, what was I going to say? Tune in tomorrow. Anybody want to do anything tomorrow? You want to do a Hamlet? That's just one name twice. That's all it is. One name twice. Maybe we'll go back to Hamlet tomorrow. All right. This is getting silly. Where? Anybody have any questions? Oh, wait a minute. I'm not ready to do a Zoom meeting. You guys like meeting at this time rather than in the morning? It doesn't matter to me. My day is wide open. When we receive work, probably next week. I have to get the go ahead from the department to find out exactly what we're going to do. Is 30 minutes too long? I don't know. I just start talking, and that's what I do for a living. So, I don't know. I kind of wake up at 3. Afternoon is better. What are you saying? Are you saying 30 minutes is too long? Oh, you don't have to stay here for the whole time. You can leave in the middle. You can watch it later, right? I think it gets saved to my channel. But today, wow, 31 people watching at the same time. Yesterday it was like 4. So, all right, 30 minutes then. Okay, good. All right. So tomorrow we'll shoot for. Well, your grades are kind of well, that's a good question. I don't know who that person is, but your grades are kind of unfrozen because they will be changing a little bit. In fact, I went through today and I did do some for some classes I had to enter in some stuff that had already been done. Okay, and then I did change some of your grades. If you had like something on the edge of something, I rounded them up. No, you can't make no, you can't make up everything that's missing in order to bring up your grade. It's too late. A lot of that stuff you should have taken care of back then. I think what you need to do is give me. I think today's Wednesday. Give me maybe till Friday, and I'll know. But as I said at the beginning of this, I think if you're going to try to improve your grade, and that's really only if you have a D or an E. No, not everybody is here. So the things that you can be made up are probably the writing assignments. Those are the things that A, are worth the most points, and B, are probably the most important things. So it's not like turning in vocabulary homework. At that point in time, that's gone. But it's turning in maybe a writing assignment that you didn't do, or 2 writing assignments that you didn't do, in order to get your grade up to a better grade. And that's a D or an E, people, right? I mean, D or an E is who I'm focusing on. If you have a B, you're in good shape considering what happened, or what's happening. Anyway, if you want to contact me outside of this, email me, right, at my school email, or you can text me. I gave everybody my I gave you my phone number on that document that I shared on Google Classroom earlier as well. Exactly. Thank you. All right. So if you have questions, reach out. If you don't, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to do, we'll go back to Hamlet tomorrow and talk more about that. I guess I'll do it around this time in the afternoon. People seem to like that better. And you guys have a nice day. Stay safe. It looks like it's nice outside. Go for a walk. I think you're still allowed to walk. Zoom, zoom, zoom. All right. Take care, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Miss you. Stay safe. Peace.